And, well, guys, what'd y'all think?
It was pretty good, man. It was like, see, okay, that's the kind of cliche 80s I want to see in an 80s movie. Okay.
Yeah.
Totally. And just FYI, we are back live on YouTube. Just got done watching Big Trouble in Little China, and well, had a pair of how do I say this politely? Virgins.
Newbies.
Yeah, I'll take it.
So-
As far as it goes for my first viewing,
Mhm.
I want to watch it on the big screen. As soon as the TV, not the big screen. But, you know what I mean?
Yeah, on your big screen TV.
It's definitely worth a rewatch. I like those kind of movies. I mean, it reminds me like The Last Dragon. That was like, as a kid, that was one of my favorite movies growing up. Like,
Right.
Bruce Leroy.
Well, hey, Brian, whenever you're able to do it, they have it on Blu-ray.
Ooh. Maybe I'll do that.
Yeah.
So I can have a physical. I can have a physical copy of that music video we just watched.
Actually, the music video is on the Blu-ray.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
I figured as much. I know. I'd be more
it's,
interested in seeing like the making of, because like John Carpenter always has really good behind the scenes featurettes, especially for like Halloween. Oh my gosh, like where they talk about how they made that movie and like how he basically just sat there with his keyboard in one hand and was like came up with the whole theme and everything for it right then and there. So like it's like guerrilla making at its finest. I always liked John Carpenter for that.
Oh yeah. Honestly, this is an all-time, like I said, an all-time favorite of mine. I have watched it so many times. It's ridiculous. It really is. And it's never gotten old, never gotten stale. It's like in my top 10 favorite movies of all time. Like I'm like legit serious. It is one of my top 10 all-time favorites.
I could see it. I mean, like it'd be like with the nostalgia factor. It's like right up to Short Circuit for me. Like,
yeah.
I always loved that movie. It was like, and then Short Circuit 2 was also good, but not quite as good as the first one. But. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you on that one.
No, you're good, bud. You're good. Well, the interesting thing is it has so many really cool, unique characters. I mean, you've obviously got Jack, you've got Egg Shen, you've got Gracie Law, played by Kim Cattrall. As I said earlier, hello, nurse. And yes, I say this as a happily married man. I do. I say this as a happily married man. But I wasn't always.
Above suspicion.
But the special effects, the story, it's so quirky and weird, and just it's classic Carpenter. It really is. I mean, he was one of the few that could do these type of stories and do them well, and he did them exceedingly well. And that's one of the reasons why I love him. His movies have always been very avant-garde. They've always been very out there. And honestly, guys, I'm really happy. I mean, I'm exceedingly happy that y'all got to watch this the first time here and everything. That is something, because I like exposing people to my childhood, because as you both said, you're both younger than me, and that's okay. It's cool, but it's so nice to introduce people who haven't had exposure to these really like cult, campy type of movies. And let's be honest, John Carpenter is known for this. This is the types of movies that he made throughout his career. and everything. And I may eventually, I may try to find a copy, or I may just like rent it on YouTube or Amazon Prime or something. Because there's one everybody's told me about. It's called Dark Star, and I
Oh.
really everything. It's like one of his earliest films or anything. It's like super low budget and everything, but it's a really imaginative. It's really super funny and everything. It's got a lot of John Carpenter charm. So
Nice.
well, let me ask you. I know this was your first time watching it, but what would you say was maybe like your favorite character, or a favorite scene, or a favorite quote, or something like that?
I like Jack. I definitely like Jack for sure.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, I agree. Jack, to me, it's kind of like, and especially when he's telling his story and whatnot at the end, I really, I kind of, it made me think of like the American folklore, like, by the CB radio, Paul Bunyan going down, you know what I mean? Like, that's kind of how they had it. It was like an American folk hero almost. So that's kind of how I like how it was.
Well, and the thing is, and here's the interesting thing. Jack is not the hero of the story, believe it or not. Egg Shin is.
Mm-hmm.
Jack is kind of the sidekick.
He's like the Han Solo almost.
Yeah, essentially. Well, and fun fact, Kurt Russell actually did audition for the role of a certain Corellian smuggler.
Yes, he did.
I'm not surprised.
He auditioned for Han Solo. So.
Imagine that though. Okay, just 1 second. Kurt Russell as Han Solo.
It would have been a very different movie, that's for sure. I know.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
I was going through his profile. I was like, wow, he did all this, because I was surprised that he actually was in the animated movie The Fox and the Hound, and he talks for Copper, and I said, that's Kurt Russell? Oh my goodness. It's hard to believe that he's one and the same, because like, wait a minute here. It's like, you picture him as this almost brawny kind of humorous guy, like an Overboard and Stargate.
Like an action hero, like not a just a regular. Yeah, so like totally different.
Exactly.
Yeah, and Sir Nerdlot and everything. Sir Nerdlot, good to see you, man. I hope you got to join us for the watch party either on Twitch or Facebook and everything, man. And always good to have you in the chat. He's like, this is one of my dad's favorite movies growing up, and it never fit in with his normal westerns. Haven't seen it in ages though. Yeah, we Nerdlot right now. It's on YouTube. You can rent it for like $3.99. So if you don't own a copy and you want to watch it and everything, you can find it on YouTube and everything pretty cheap. Now I actually found this at a secondhand media store and everything, and I've already kind of told this story, but I'll share it with Nerdlot and everything. I saw this on the shelf because I've been wanting a copy for a while, and this is the Blu-ray. Big Trouble in Little China. I was like, yeah. And Madam Ambassador was like, honey, what's wrong? I was like, it's Big Trouble in Little China. She's like, you've been looking for that one, have you? I was like, uh-huh. I was like, I will risk no harm to it. It is precious to me. I will kill to keep the precious safe. I will keep the precious Bert and the precious Law and the precious...
bite a finger off.
Like, leave it alone. That's mine. Back away.
So,
and I
told Mother Ambassador, I was like, guess what movie I finally found on Blu-ray? She's like, I don't know. I was like, Big Trouble in Little China. She's like, you're kidding. I was like, nope. And she's like, well, where did you find it? I was like, one of the stores here in town. And she's like, well, son, be a son of a gun. She's like, I was like, guess how much I paid? She's like, $20. I was like, nope. She's like, how much you pay? I was like four or $5.99. She's like, well, right on. I told you you've looked for good bargains growing up. I was like, yep.
Uh-huh.
And Neon Sci-Fi brings up Big Trouble in Little China originally written to be a Western. Yeah, and it kind of has that feeling to it and everything. But I'm really glad that it became something a little bit different and everything from what it originally was going to be. Because if it had just been done as a Western, it would not have had the charm and the goofy nature and everything that goes with it. And it's a really singular experience to watch this movie because you can't categorize it as just one thing because it does have action, it does have kung fu, it does have humor and a supernatural element to it. And John Carpenter threw that all in a metaphorical blender and hit awesome. And this movie just kind of pouring out and everything into a glass, and he took a swig and he's like, that's good movie.
Give you the Luke Skywalker Last Jedi tilt.
No.
I just drank some green milk. It was good.
No. We don't
fresh.
We don't reference it. I'm teasing. I don't care. I'm teasing. I don't really care anymore. It was nutty and everything. I had a notification come up and everything earlier today and everything, and I had left a comment on Goldman's Raisin the Mary Sue video, and I was very congenial and everything. No, I really was. Well, just give me a minute. No, I'll pull it up here. Give me 2 seconds. Come on, close. And somebody put a comment on here, and I'll read what I said, and I'll read and everything. And if you don't agree with me, that's okay. And we're not going to get into a big Star Wars thing and everything. We're talking Big Trouble in Little China, but I want to bring this up real quick. As I said, she may not be a Mary Sue, but she was a poorly written character. Her story in the movies wasn't properly developed. I was like, I didn't find her intriguing or interesting or remotely original. She could have been an excellent character and one that I could have supported and even encouraged others to look into as well. The main issue for Rey is poor execution. Abrams set her up to where she had the potential to be universally an universally appreciated character, but unfortunately, due to the mystery boxes of her origin and the connection to the Force, the massive damage done to her and the other characters in The Last Jedi, any hope of making Rey a well-crafted character that the fandom across the board would have endorsed had been and even connected with was utterly wasted. As I will say this, I don't hate the character or the actress who played her, or my fellow fans who love her. If anything, I'm let down. I wanted to be invested in this new series of movies. I liked Finn and Poe and Rey to a certain degree. They each had potential. Hell, I even liked Ben and Hux. They had an interesting dynamic in The Force Awakens. But it was all wasted in Last Jedi. Johnson, rather than continue the story set up by Abrams, he wanted to be controversial and edgy. He wanted to subvert fans and the general audience's expectations. I saw TLJ twice in theaters. First time I was through, I was blown away. Walked out utterly shocked but satisfied and wondering what was going to happen next. Went back a second time to watch it, and that's when the flaws, plot holes, and disjointed story reared its ugly head. To be transparent, I watched no reviews in between viewings. None at all. The flaws I found, I did so on my own. It was only after a second viewing that I watched reviews from both sides, for TLJ and against it. It just happened. I just happened to be on the side of those against. I said, however, unlike those who are against it, I won't insult a fellow fan who likes these movies. I've said it before, and I'll keep saying it. Time to heal the division and heal the force. I may not agree with you, Goldman, in your point of view, but when I see you, I don't see an enemy or someone I'm in conflict with. I see a fellow fan. I hope someday we can both sit down, have a pint, and talk about this thing called Star Wars that we both love so much. And somebody replied and everything, and this is not me calling them out or trying to throw shade at them. When they asked me, ambassadorial, why? Because we didn't know her origin in the second movie. That's what makes her wasted potential. Look, you're allowed not to like Rey the character, but not knowing her origin until the final film just seems like a weak reason not to like her, in my opinion. So, but and that's why I'm kind of, honestly, I've moved past this whole sequel nonsense. I'm done with it. I really am.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I've even reconsidered doing my riff and roast streams or anything on TLJ and the Rise of Skywalker. That's why I'm focusing on.
I was gonna say, because to be honest, like you could say the same thing about the prequels. Like,
but here's like, I love the just 2 seconds. I love the prequels. Always did. Go ahead.
I didn't like. I mean, I grew up on the original ones. I had them on VHS and stuff growing up, and like the first time I saw them in the theaters was at the special editions. I mean, and they changed those movies too, like a lot, and that back then that pissed a lot of people off.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, I think fans' ire with Star Wars goes way, way back, and like mine personally, like. I never liked the prequels. Like, I was really excited and I got so disappointed. I like episode 3. The other 2, I cannot watch in one sitting. I'll fall asleep.
And I get that. I really do, because if you're not geared to be a person that likes political intrigue, that's part of the story right there that's not going to connect with you or going to resonate with you.
Oh, and I didn't have a problem with that. It was all just George Lucas's inability to direct actors.
And that again, and that's, I will say that is a valid criticism and everything. The issue for Lucas was he is a very good visual storyteller.
Exactly, and that's why he only directed the first one of the original trilogy. Like Irvin Kershner did a fantastic job in Empire Strikes Back, and that's why it was so good, because he's a character director, and he got that performance out of the characters. I mean, hell, Harrison Ford would be the first person to tell you that George Lucas is not a people person.
Well, and Mark Hamill has done numerous interviews and everything about his relationship with Lucas, and he's like, I have my problems with George, but I still love the guy, and he still has immense respect for him. I know the majority of the surviving actors, although that list is starting to get smaller and smaller, except for maybe the ones that are from the prequels. I imagine they would all say they have immense respect for Lucas. And to kind of get back on track here, John Carpenter is a very non-traditional director and a very non-traditional creative in the entertainment industry. This is a guy who hasn't really had any big controversies surrounding him or anything. and he's had a pretty consistently good career. I mean, even one of his movies got nominated for an Oscar. I think it was Starman with Jeff Bridges. And this is a guy that is primarily known for movies like Big Trouble in Little China and for Escape from New York and Escape from LA. Now, here's the thing. I never saw Escape from New York, but I've heard a lot of good things about it. I'm going to eventually sit down and watch it. But
it's
I did go
Max.
see.
I think I'm going to watch it.
Yeah, I think it is. Silent Scotty, They Live. And I actually think They Live is on HBO Max. It just got recently added, so that's definitely one I'm going to watch at some point because that's one of the few John Carpenter films I have never seen. But I got to see Escape from LA at least once or twice in theaters, and I've watched it on like video and everything. I don't know how many times. And I love the character of Snake Plissken. Really, really do. I actually have it was a figure line that was big and everything in like the 90s or early 2000s. It was called Movie Maniacs, and they actually did a figure for Snake Plissken and everything from Escape from LA, and I actually got it and everything back I think last year, or no, it was year before last I got it and everything. And I loved the character. He was such an interesting and intriguing character. This was he was like anti-hero of anti-heroes. He wasn't a good guy, but he did the right thing and everything, but maybe not always for the altruistic reason. Kind of like Deadpool. Oh my gosh, could you imagine a crossover between those two?
Interesting.
Oh.
It's neon sci-fi. I got that comment.
Oh my word!
Smooth. If Obi-Wan saw me do this, he'd be very angry.
Let's be candid.
I was taking acting classes when Attack of the Clones came out, and somebody, when we were talking about monologues and stuff, somebody did the monologue of that. I hate sand. It's coarse, rough, and irritating. It gets everywhere.
It gets everywhere.
So I was like, we learned what bad acting was, and not only that, but I don't want to throw shade at Jake Lloyd, but child acting in movies is really hit or miss. Like it could be fantastic or it could be yippee.
Okay.
So like
okay. And I get what you're saying. I honestly feel bad for the kid. I felt bad.
Totally.
Mm-hmm.
I feel bad for the guy. I really do. Now, something I will say, there was another child actor that was working around the same time that Lloyd was. Actually, he would probably made a better Anakin, and he actually has similar look to Anakin. That was Freddie Both.
Okay.
He was in the Mummy Returns. He played Rick and Evie's son. I thought he could have potentially made a good Anakin, a young Anakin. So
I would have preferred an Anakin maybe starting off with Hayden Christensen. Like I don't need to see the pod racing. I could have done without episode 1 for the most part.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it would have been nice to see Qui-Gon Jinn and all that kind of stuff. But for, not for naught. I mean, the pod racing scene I could have done without. I mean, it was cool and everything, but like it usually puts me to sleep because I watch a lot of NASCAR, and I'm telling you, about 2 laps in, it's the race is almost over. Cool, the best part. So it's kind of like having a TiVo in your mind.
That's the great. Here's the interesting thing about this movie and everything that we just got done watching. This has a very eclectic cast. Let's be honest.
Oh yeah,
I mean, you got James Hall, you got Victor Wong, you've got Kurt Russell, you've got Kim Cattrall, you've got the 3 guys who played the Storms, Thunder, Wind, and Lightning, obviously. Raiden Jr. And somehow or another, John Carpenter was able to get this very non-traditional cast to work together. Because, okay, I think we can all say to one degree or another, based on Carpenter's body of work, the guy is a talent across the board. He can write, he can direct actors. He does a good job with that, and he's a musician. And I would say, honestly, a good musician. I mean, for heaven's sakes, he has done some of the most iconic movie soundtracks ever put in films.
Yeah, he's definitely up there with the musicians, that's for sure.
Yeah. And to the chat, Nigel, movie guy, Nigel, good to see you, bud, and everything. We just got done watching Big Trouble in Little China. Wish you had been here, man. Would have loved to have your insight on this flick and everything. But yes, John Carpenter. John Carpenter is the GOAT, to use a more common, a more modern phrase and everything. Yeah, and it's okay. Oh, but yeah, and the creature design. That was something else that has always intrigued me about this movie and everything, because these are very non-traditional creatures. I mean, you basically have a giant head floating in midair, covered in eyeballs, with a eyeball attached to the end of its tongue.
Who comes up with this stuff, man?
John Carpenter.
Or Peter Jackson did, and I have too, because I'm creating my own sci-fi. I'm coming up with stuff like it's fresh and it's new, it's different. So as long as you use your imagination, anything's possible. So I think that's the way it is with John Carpenter. Unfortunately, today's kids wouldn't have that imagination because they've nuked it too much with television, video games, and stuff like that. But our generation, we love this kind of stuff, and we love this kind of stuff, and we're not afraid to say, "Hey, I got some creative. I hadn't thought of that." And they're like, "Oh, that's cool." But the new kids are like, "What?"
Well, Alicia, you bring up the whole creativity gap and everything between the generations. I mean, okay, I'm a level with you all. I am by no means a professional writer at all, but I've started this project, and now it has evolved on me, and not necessarily in a bad way, with my fan fiction. I wrote primarily academic papers, but I take her opinion and at very high regard, obviously, for not just the fact that she's my wife and everything, but she's one of the smartest people I've known, and she's read my fan fiction, all 6 parts, or well, up to 6 parts now. And she's like, honey, we need to get this copyright, and you might actually, this could be published. And I was like, honey, it's not that good. She's like, yes, it is that good. It's like, it's just a fan fiction. And now I'm gonna finish the script, and then I'm gonna be reaching out and everything. I'm gonna be putting out calls and everything to everybody that I know in the Star Wars community, everybody on YouTube, everybody that everything might have an interest in being a part of this radio drama and everything, or want to call it everything, for my fan fiction. So
yeah. Need a voice, send me a script, I'll read some lines. It sounds like fun.
Yeah, go for it. I mean,
well, I've got a cast list and everything, and I don't think I've shared it with either one of you, and I actually came up with a proper title. Give me just a second. I'll pull up the picture, the thumbnail that I made. Just give me a second. I gotta get in my pictures. Yeah, Neon Sci-Fi. It's gonna be a 12-parter plus an epilogue. So.
Wow, mine's a 3-parter, but it's like long. It's not a Star Wars. It's my own fiction.
Well, I had to split it up to make it manageable, because otherwise it would have gotten away from me if I hadn't otherwise.
Okay, I was going to go dystopian, post-apocalyptic.
Come on, where are you? Well, the thing was, I had to ask myself, I can keep going as I am, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, but I thought to myself, if I'm really wanting to promote this idea of helping heal the Star Wars fandom, what better way than to create a story that I think everybody could get on board with and get everybody involved and everything to where that we could do the story together and everything. I can record it, I can edit it together, I can add music to it, and then put it out there for everybody to see. And once it's done, I'm actually going to put a dedication for it because I'm going to dedicate it to one person. It's not going to be the person you may think. I might give a little wink and nod to George Lucas, but I'm actually going to dedicate it to my late father because it was my dad and everything that got me into the universe of Star Wars. Okay. Finally got the picture up. Give me 2 seconds.
Nice.
I had to really mull over my title and everything. Okay. It's called Star Wars: The Unity of the Force. A fan fiction by.
Nice.
I like it.
That's cool.
Well, I wanted a title that kind of gave you an idea of the direction I was going in, but I wanted a title that was unique because obviously there are so many different fan fictions and published works out there, and I wanted something that had not been done. And, as I've done this story, I've even created my own I've created my own characters, my own original characters, for crying out loud. I've had to put together a disclaimer saying all original characters belong to X, Y, and Z. All original characters belong to me. And the cast list, it's not short. Give me a second. It's a good thing I have a lot of fingers in Star Wars Discords and in Star Wars fan groups on Facebook and whatnot. So, okay. Here's the cast list.
Talent pool.
Huh?
I said you got a wide talent pool.
Yes. Well, I'm actually going to get a hold of Enosh and Dawson and everything because I actually based a character on Enosh in America. Well, I kind of used his name in America speaking, and you might be able to catch it and everything when I go through the cast list here.
Nice.
Okay. We got Rey, we got Poe Dameron, well, General Poe Dameron, Finn, Luke Skywalker, alive, not dead. Big difference in my story. General Leia Skywalker, the Force Ghosts of Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Yoda, Ben Solo, aka Kylo Ren, General Armitage Hux. That was actually General Hux's first name was Armitage. I had to do some research because, well, I wanted his first name. We got Snoke, we got Grogu, Ahsoka Tano, C-3PO, Admiral Akbar. Did anybody ever watch Rebels?
A little bit.
Do you remember there was one character called Callus? He was originally an Imperial officer and everything, and then he turned into
Callus. ISB Agent Callus.
Yeah. He's now a general with what I call the New Rebellion. Lando Calrissian and everything, and I think I already said Admiral Akbar. And then some of the characters that I created, a Lieutenant Race Madine and everything with the New Rebellion. Colonel Burdett, female Chiss, New Rebellion. Taelis, an Arcanian with the New Rebellion. Vice Admiral Nesh of the First Order. General Vorn, First Order. Moff Becca of the Imperial Remnant. Captain Tiberius Nella of the Imperial Remnant. And Colonel Rana Veers of the Imperial Remnant. Like I said, big cast list. Not to mention, I'm going to need miscellaneous officers and everything for the background for both sides. So,
Nice.
but well, I've been promoting this idea of more division, healing the Force. I figured the best way to do it is to actually get the people that are on either side to try and come together. And maybe this is a step in the right direction. I mean, we've obviously gotten a lot of work and everything. We've gotten a lot of progress and everything in healing the fandom concerning the direction that Disney Lucasfilm is going in. So,
we'll get there one of these days.
Well, go for it. I mean, I support you wholeheartedly. I mean, as a writer, I support all writers. I mean, I have one of my notebooks
and I appreciate
here, and I write so much, and I'm still trying to get stuff finished, and I still have stuff up here that I need to put into paper. So,
well, everything I write is on my notepad on my phone, and then I transfer it over to my computer.
See, I have like 20 of these. I have like 20 in notebooks, and I don't. I'm still writing.
Okay, Sir Nerdlot. Yeah, well, you know what? I'll give y'all just a little sneak preview. This isn't gonna be like a huge spoiler or anything. I wrote a proper intro and everything, like the crawl. I wrote a crawl essentially. Okay, and I'll just read this to you. Now, y'all give me your thoughts on it. Okay, sorry, I'll stop. The unity of the Force. Over a year has passed since the events on Crate. Across the galaxy, the First Order and New Rebellion rebuild their forces in an effort to liberate or enslave the citizens caught in their ongoing conflict. On the world of Octu, Luke Skywalker has been guiding the young Force wielder Rey, aiding her in her development of her skills in the Force. Bringing fresh insight into Rey's training, Luke, alongside with Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Yoda, have sought to break the cycle of conflict that has existed among the adherents of the Force. Kylo Ren has been plagued by a voice in his mind, beckoning him to the unknown regions of the galaxy. Leaving the shipyards of Fondor, he travels to a world nearly forgotten by the galaxy. A world whose very name makes people's blood run cold. Exegol. Pan down.
Nice. Very nice.
If you're neon sci-fi, if you love writing, Robert Meyer Burdett doing a short story contest, he'll pick a couple of stories and publish it in a book, and even might turn one of them into a movie. I've been working on mine. Hey, neon sci-fi, great.
Nice.
Yeah. I might reach out to Mr. Burdett and everything. I actually watch his channel and everything on a regular basis because he does a lot of good stuff with his channel. So, but Carpenter has been one of my influences, in manner of speaking, because I wanted to kind of, particularly with Big Trouble in Little China, he introduced a lot of mysticism and a lot of supernatural elements in this story, which he hasn't done in previous stories. I mean, he kind of did a little bit with like Halloween, but that was more of a pure slasher film per se.
Mm-hmm.
But I really wanted to delve into the supernatural or the more metaphysical aspects of the Force in the Star Wars universe with my story, but also kind of have enough there and everything that people are accustomed to, have the missions, have the dogfights, have the sieges around planets, have the space battles and ground battles and so on, because that's part of Star Wars too.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of took the bones of, or the abandoned ideas and everything that were not used in the sequel trilogy, and I've even kind of I've created my own, particularly for Rey, if for those of you that haven't been following along. And I've made her, at least in my perspective, a more relatable character, because the one big thing for me was I did not care for her taking the Skywalker last name. And everything, as most everybody knows, I'm adopted. And that was kind of I'm not gonna say I was triggered or anything like that. I won't go that route.
Mhm.
But there was something that felt kind of dishonest or disingenuous, or even maybe a better word would be unearned with that. So I'm giving her a better opportunity and a better choice to decide what direction her life is going to go in. And I already have my ending in mind, and I don't want to spoil it, so obviously I won't. I'll bring up Sir Nerdlot's thing here. I've been working on a screenplay for Invisible Monsters, book by Chuck. I can't pronounce that last name for years. Yes, I procrastinate a lot. Well, Sir Nerdlot, I will say, and everything, I'll give you advice. A fellow YouTuber and a fellow writer, Fiona Wolf, has said, write a little bit every day, even if it's no more than a paragraph. Write a little bit every day, and then when then you'll finally get in the habit of writing more and more every day.
Yep.
So
that's what we did in my middle school. My teacher used to give us a free write before class started, and she would basically tell us, if you can't think of something to write, keep saying, I can't think of something to write, until you finally think of something to write. But me, as a writer, I'm constantly writing. So, yeah, basically just get inspiration from anywhere. I mean, even if it's a nighttime dream and you're thinking, oh, that's so ridiculous, but write it down on a notepad, and who knows, it might be a story.
Well, the other thing for me was the world building. I felt was so weak and everything that I wanted to include world building. That's why in my crawl I say the First Order and the New Rebellion, they're kind of on an even playing field, in manner of speaking. They're both rebuilding. I've taken a few story ideas and elements from The Last Jedi, and I'm using that as an opportunity to do world building. And I show the world building. And I introduce new characters. I've used my new characters and existing characters. Oh, now I thought that name looked familiar, Nerdlot and everything. Yeah, I actually read. I think I read the bigger part of that book and everything after I saw the movie years and years and years and years ago. And yes, I've seen Fight Club. It's a favorite movie of mine. So I don't know. Have either one of you ever seen Fight Club?
Yeah, I've seen it a couple.
I've seen clips of it. I know what it's about. You don't ever talk about Fight Club. First rule of Fight Club: you never talk about Fight Club. Second rule: you never discuss it.
Actually, I'm gonna take off, but I gotta get this chair. I've been doing job applications all day today, so it's like.
Well, we're probably gonna wrap up here in just a minute. But Brian, thank you for being here tonight, man.
Thanks for having me.
Hey,
good seeing you, Brian.
Yeah.
Hey, man, you're always welcome. And hey, if you're free Friday night and you want to join me for Batman Forever, that will go a little bit more smoother because I'll be running that in my computer and everything off of DVD.
Yeah,
and everything.
pencil me in for that. Just shoot me a DM or whatever, and I'll be there.
Okay, we'll do.
Should be good.
All right. All right. You take care, bud.
Guys. Later.
Peace.
Later.
Well, folks, I think we're going to go and wrap up here. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in, whether you were on Facebook or you were on Twitch or on YouTube and everything. I know we bounced off of YouTube, but again, I wanted to play it safe and everything. Even though I did get the movie through YouTube, I didn't want it to get taken down and have to go through a bunch of rigmarole for that. So I appreciate y'all coming back in and everything and hear us talking about Big Trouble in Little China. For those of you that catch us on replay, I hope you do enjoy the stream and everything, whether it is on any one of those 3 platforms and everything. And if you come across it and everything, you come across this stream and you liked what we had to say, hit that like button, share the stream out. And if you aren't a subscriber to the Ambassadorial Wing, consider subscribing. And also make sure you subscribe to this wonderful young lady and everything, Alicia Victoria Parker. Alicia, it's always a pleasure to have you on. Truly.
Thank you, Ambassador. I appreciate that. I enjoy myself. I always enjoy myself here. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Well, folks, and for everybody that was in the chat and everything, wherever you might have been and everything tonight and everything for the watch along and everything thank you for being here. And I hope I was able to take your mind off things, at least for a little while, bring a little release, a little joy, a little relaxation to you and everything. So obviously I'll be back tomorrow. Not tomorrow. Tomorrow's Thursday. I'm off. I'm taking tomorrow off. But I'll be back Friday and everything with a double header and everything. I'll be back at 2:30 Central Time with the Council of Ones as we start our review of season 3 of Babylon 5. And then, of course, as I mentioned, 7 p.m. and everything Central Time, we'll be doing another retro theater watch along for Batman Forever. So we'll see y'all. I'll see y'all then. Alicia, before we go, have you got anything coming up that you want to plug before we wrap up?
Not right now because I'm trying to schedule some celebrity interviews, but make sure you're subscribed to my channel if you're not, because I'm really trying to get my watch hours up. Please, folks, I really need that.
Yeah, she's at 1,000 subs, folks. Let's get her watch times up. Anything. Let's get her to monetization. So anyway. Well, folks, we're going to wrap up here. Again, thank you all for being here tonight. And until next time, these are the Ambassadors, signing off.
I have always been